Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment, a defining moment, when you see the truth. You see through the lies, the deception, the cunning manipulations, and suddenly the person you once trusted, the one who smiled in your face, is unmasked. You know what they are, but more importantly, they know that you know. And that, my friends, changes everything. From that moment on, they will do whatever it takes to keep their power, their illusion, their carefully crafted facade. They will lie, they will twist, they will fight, they will even try to convince you that you are the villain. But here's the truth. They are afraid of you, not because you're dangerous, but because you are free, because you no longer live under their spell, because you hold something more powerful than their tricks. You hold clarity. Stay with me, because by the end of this you will know their every move, and once you see it, you can never be controlled again. The moment you confront them with the truth, they will look you straight in the eye and pretend nothing happened. No hesitation, no stutter, just complete calculated denial. They will act as if your reality is fiction, as if your memory is flawed, as if your intuition is a lie. They will laugh, shake their head and say, "I don't know what you're talking about." And they will say it so convincingly that for a moment you might actually start to doubt yourself. That's the first trick. They are not trying to defend themselves. They are trying to rewrite the story. They know that truth is their greatest enemy. Truth is the one thing they cannot control. So they do what they do best, distort it. They will repeat the lie again and again until the sheer weight of their confidence makes you question your own sanity. You may even start second-guessing yourself. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe I imagined it. And that's exactly what they want, because if they can make you doubt your own mind, they win. But listen closely. You are not imagining things. That feeling in your gut, that uneasiness, that instinct, it is real. That is your armor. That is your strength. They want you to surrender it, to give in to their version of reality. Do not, because the moment you agree to their lie, even a little, they will tighten their grip. Suddenly it's not just this one thing you misunderstood. No, now everything is in question. Every moment, every memory, every truth you've ever known is suddenly up for debate. And before you know it, you are no longer standing on solid ground. This is not an accident. This is strategy. They have perfected this art over years, using it on anyone who threatens their illusion. They don't care about reality. They care about control. And control comes from making sure you do not trust yourself. But here's the truth they never want you to realize. Once you see their game, once you recognize the pattern, it stops working. The moment you say, "No, I will not question myself," you take back your power. They can deny it all they want. They can play innocent, act confused, pretend they don't understand. It does not matter, because when you know, truly know, deep in your bones, no amount of their denial can change that. This is where things start to shift. Because when denial doesn't work, they move to their next move, blame. Suddenly, the conversation is no longer about what they did. No, now it's about what you did. Now you are the one under attack. They will twist the story so masterfully, so effortlessly, that you won't even see it happening. One moment, you're standing there speaking your truth, and the next, you're defending yourself against accusations you never saw coming. "I only did that because of you," they say. "You made me do it." Watch how quickly they turn the tables. Suddenly they are not the wrongdoer, you are. This is how they escape accountability. They take your words, your actions, your emotions, and twist them like a knife, turning them against you. If you were upset, they say you were overreacting. If you were calm, they say you were being cold and cruel. No matter what you did, it was wrong. And because it was wrong, they had no choice but to act as they did. And here is where so many people fall into the trap. Because when someone blames you with such conviction, with such certainty, it is easy to want to defend yourself, to explain, to justify, to prove that you are not the bad one, that you are not the villain. But the moment you do this, you have already lost, because this is not a conversation. This is not a misunderstanding. This is a game. And the only way to win is not to play. Silence. That is your weapon. Not anger, not arguments, not explanations, just silence. Watch them. Watch their frustration when they realize you are no longer reacting, no longer playing into their carefully crafted performance. They will push harder, of course. They will throw out accusations like daggers, hoping one will land, hoping one will make you lash out, but stand firm. Because what they fear most is not your anger, it is your clarity. They will do anything to shake you, to confuse you, to make you question yourself. But when you refuse, when you hold your ground, you will see something remarkable. Their mask will slip. Just for a second, but it will happen. You will see the desperation in their eyes, the fear behind their words. Because deep down, they know that you see them. And once you see them for what they are, truly see them, they can never control you again. They can deny, they can blame, they can twist and turn and manipulate, but they cannot take your truth. That is yours. And once you own it, once you claim it as your own, you become something they fear the most. Untouchable. When denial fails and blame doesn't work, they turn to their next move. They play the victim. They stand before you, not as the manipulator, not as the deceiver, but as the one who has been deeply wounded. Suddenly, their voice is softer, their eyes filled with sorrow, and their entire being radiates pain. "I never meant to hurt you," they whisper. "I'm struggling. I've been going through so much." And just like that, the air shifts. The focus moves away from what they did to you and becomes about what the world has done to them. They tell you stories about their childhood, their past relationships, their personal struggles. Suddenly, you're not dealing with a liar or a manipulator anymore. You're dealing with someone who is just hurting. And you have a good heart. You don't want to see someone suffer. You don't want to be cruel. That is their trap, because the moment you start feeling sorry for them, the moment you start questioning whether they are truly at fault, you let go of the anger, the disappointment, the betrayal. You replace it with something else, sympathy. And that's exactly what they need to regain control. They know that the more they paint themselves as a victim, the more they can shift your perspective. Instead of seeing them as someone who has wronged you, you start seeing them as someone who needs saving. And maybe, just maybe, if you show them kindness, if you offer them patience, if you love them enough, they will change. But they won't, because this is not about healing. This is about keeping you exactly where they need you to be, confused, forgiving, willing to stay. They count on your empathy. They count on your compassion. They know that if they pull the right emotional strings, they can keep you trapped in a cycle of guilt and responsibility. Watch how quickly their tears dry when they realize you are not swayed. Watch how the sadness in their eyes sharpens into something else, calculating, waiting. This is not genuine remorse. This is a performance, and the only way the show continues is if you remain in your role. The moment you step back and say no more, the act falls apart. Because at their core, they do not want your forgiveness. They want your compliance. And when they sense that sympathy is slipping from your grasp, when they see the cracks in their performance, they turn to something else. If they cannot make you feel sorry for them, they will make you fear them. They do not have to raise their voice to do this. They do not have to throw things, break things, scream. Sometimes it is far more subtle, far more insidious. A shift in tone, a lingering stare, a carefully chosen sentence that plants doubt in your mind. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. Are you sure you want to do this? People who cross me always regret it. It is not a direct threat, not always. It is a seed planted deep in your subconscious, meant to make you hesitate. They do not need to attack you outright. They only need you to wonder what might happen if you push too far. That hesitation is all they need, because the moment you hesitate, the moment you hold back out of fear, they win. Some use words, some use silence. Some create an atmosphere so thick with unspoken tension that you can feel it pressing against your skin. You know that if you step out of line, if you push too hard, something will break. Maybe it will be their temper. Maybe it will be your peace. Maybe it will be something worse. That is the power of fear. It does not need to be loud to be effective. It only needs to be present. And once it takes root, it is difficult to escape. Because now, every decision you make is not about what is right, not about what you deserve, but about what will keep things from escalating. You tread carefully, measuring your words, adjusting your tone, walking on eggshells that never seem to end. That is what they want. Not love, not respect, not understanding, control. And nothing grants control faster than fear. But fear only works when you believe in it. The moment you refuse to be afraid, the moment you call their bluff, the moment you stand tall and say, "Do what you must, but you will not shake me," you take back your power. Because the truth is, they are not as powerful as they want you to believe. Their strength is an illusion, built on your willingness to submit. The moment you refuse, the moment you meet their gaze without flinching, you become something they cannot. They expect you to crumble, they expect you to doubt yourself, they expect you to play by their rules. But when you refuse, when you make it clear that you are no longer afraid, they are the ones who begin to panic. Because deep down they know, without fear, without manipulation, without control, they have nothing. Once fear no longer works, once they realize that no amount of intimidation will shake you, they take a different approach. They step back, recalibrate, and prepare their next attack. And this time, it is not directed at you alone, it is directed at everyone around you. Whispers begin to spread, subtle at first, almost unnoticeable. Someone you once trusted starts acting differently around you, their eyes filled with doubt, their words measured. A friend cancels plans without explanation. A colleague who once valued your presence now keeps their distance. You sense the shift before you even understand where it's coming from. This is no accident. This is strategy. They know they can no longer manipulate you directly, so they manipulate how others see you. They rewrite the narrative, but this time the audience is not just you, it is everyone in your world. They paint themselves as the misunderstood one, the betrayed, the wounded soul who has been so terribly wronged. And you are the villain in their story. They do not need to be aggressive about it. No, that would be too obvious. Instead, they drip feed their lies carefully, methodically. "I don't know what happened," they say with a sigh. "I tried everything, but they just changed. They became so cold, so distant. I still care about them, but I don't know who they are anymore." It is always vague, always just enough to plant the seed of doubt in others without making it seem like they are directly attacking you. And then they sit back and watch. They watch as people who once stood by you begin to question you. They watch as you are forced to defend yourself against accusations you never saw coming. They do not need proof. They do not need logic. They only need enough uncertainty, enough suspicion, enough people wondering, what if? The most dangerous thing about this tactic is that it isolates you. One by one, people start slipping away. And you find yourself standing alone, wondering how the truth became so twisted. This is the final step in their attempt to control you. If they cannot make you doubt yourself, if they cannot make you afraid, they will try to make you invisible. But there is one thing they always underestimate: truth. It moves slower than lies, but it is relentless. It does not need to be forced. It does not need to be defended. It simply exists. And those who seek it, those who are patient enough, will find it. The people who matter, the ones who truly see you, will not be fooled. They may be misled for a time, they may hesitate, but in the end the truth will draw them back. And when that happens, when the lies begin to unravel, they will realize they are losing control. This is when desperation sets in. They will try everything to pull you back in. They will switch between kindness and cruelty, between apologies and attacks, between promises of change and threats of consequences. It is chaos, designed to keep you off balance. One moment they will tell you they have changed, that they see their mistakes, that they will do anything to make things right. The next, they will remind you of all the ways they can hurt you, all the ways they can make your life difficult. This is not growth. This is not remorse. This is survival. They are fighting to keep their grip on you because without it, they are powerless. The idea that you could walk away, that you could live without them, is something they cannot accept. They will beg, they will bargain, they will lash out, but none of it is real. It is all a performance designed to trigger the emotions they once controlled. And yet, amidst the chaos, there is one thing that terrifies them more than anything: your indifference. They do not fear your anger, they do not fear your resistance. They fear your silence. They fear the moment when their words no longer affect you, when their presence no longer shakes you, when their games no longer work. That is when they know they have lost. And that is when they will do the one thing they never wanted to do. They will let go. Not because they have changed, not because they have found redemption, but because there is nothing left for them to take. They move on, searching for someone new, someone unaware, someone who has yet to see through them. And you walk away. Not because you won a battle, not because you defeated them, but because you were never playing their game to begin with. Because you chose truth over illusion, strength over submission, clarity over confusion. Because you understood something they never could. Real power does not come from control. It comes from knowing who you are and refusing to let anyone take that from you. So what do? How do you handle them? You do not play their game. You stand firm. You see through them. You refuse to engage in their twisted reality. Because at the end of the day, the one thing evil fears the most is someone who sees it for what it truly is. And that, my friends, is power. Now go, be unbreakable,